All right, everyone get ready because today we are going deep into quality management.
We're talking about the heavy hitters, the quality gurus.
The people who pretty much invented how we think about quality today.
It's going to be like a crash course in quality thinking straight from Chapter 3.
It's just wild to me how these people, a lot of them working like way back when,
Right.
came up with principles that we still use today.
Yeah, it just shows how powerful their ideas were and still are.
For sure. And I mean, things have changed. Like, we're not running factories the same way anymore.
Definitely, but the basic ideas still apply,
Like reducing variation.
empowering people.
Absolutely. And focusing on customer value.
Timeless stuff.
Totally. Okay, so who are we starting with? Who's our first quality guru superstar?
We got to start with the OG, Walter Shohart.
Okay, I've heard the name.
He's like the father of statistical process control.
Okay, I've heard the name.
Basically, he brought science into quality management.
Oh, interesting.
You see, before him, quality was all about checking things after they were already made. Shohart was like, hey, what if we use data to actually control the process itself?
So prevent problems instead of just reacting to them.
You got it.
Okay.
Oh, and one of the biggest things he did was figure out that not all variation is the same.
Oh, right.
There's common cause variation, which is just like normal stuff that happens in any process.
Okay.
And then there's special cause variation, which means something weird is going on.
Okay, I think I need an example.
All right, imagine you're waiting for the bus every morning.
Okay, I do that.
Sometimes it's a couple minutes late because of traffic. That's common cause. It's just part of how the system works.
Yeah.
But let's say the bus is an hour late because the driver got totally lost.
Uh-oh.
That's special cause. Something unusual happened.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So if you keep track of the data over time, you'll see the patterns and you'll know when something's up.
Right, you can spot those special cause variations.
Yeah. And that's where tools like control charts come in.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those, but never really knew how to use them.
They help you visualize the data and basically predict how the process is going to behave.
Interesting. So you're not just reacting to problems after they've already happened.
You're in control.
So Shohart was all about using data to really understand and control processes.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Okay, who's next on our quality management Mount Rushmore?
We got to talk about W. Edwards Deming.
Ooh, the Deming.
This guy's ideas were huge, especially in Japan.
Right, like total game changer.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so I've heard of the 14 points.
Yeah.
But I've got to admit, they've always seemed a little intimidating.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot to unpack there.
Right.
Let's just focus on a couple that really show what Deming was all about.
Okay, sounds good.
One of the big ones is drive out fear.
That's an interesting one. Why was that so important to him?
He really believed that fear in the workplace just kills creativity and innovation.
Yeah, people are too afraid to speak up.
Exactly. If people are afraid to point out problems or suggest new ideas, you're missing out big time.
It's like they're more worried about not messing up than actually doing their best work.
Exactly. Deming wanted people to feel safe, to try new things, make mistakes, and learn from them.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's another one of Deming's points that really stands out to you?
Let's go with break down barriers between departments.
Okay, interesting.
This goes back to Deming's idea of systems thinking.
Oh, you think about the whole organization.
He knew that organizations are like a bunch of interconnected parts.
Yeah.
And if the departments don't talk to each other and work together,
It's just chaos.
you'd end up with silos, things get missed, and it just doesn't work.
So you got to break down those walls and see the big picture.
Exactly. And this leads to one of Deming's coolest ideas, the chain reaction.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that term thrown around.
He said that when you improve quality, it actually leads to lower costs,
Really?
higher productivity, and more jobs.
Like a win-win all around.
It's not just about making a better product. It's about building a better company.
And a better world. I like it.
And to do this, Deming talked about the need for what he called profound knowledge.
Profound knowledge. Sound intense.
It is. It's about understanding systems.
Variation, psychology, and the whole theory of knowledge.
Whoa, heady stuff.
Okay, I'm already feeling like I need to step up my game after these first two gurus.
For sure, they're giants.
Who's next on our quality journey?
Now we got to talk about Joseph Juran.
Okay, another big name.
He was right there with Deming, believing that management had to take responsibility for quality.
Interesting.
He's famous for his quality trilogy.
Trilogy, that sounds epic.
It is. It's how he broke down quality management into three main parts: quality planning,
Okay,
quality control, and quality improvement.
so you plan it out,
You keep things on track.
and you always look for ways to make it better.
Exactly. But what's really cool about Juran is that he brought in the human element.
The human element.
He knew you got to train people, motivate them, and give them ownership over quality.
Yeah, I mean, people are the ones doing the work.
Exact. And Juran had this crazy statistic. He said that over 80% of quality problems come from bad management decisions.
80%. Wow, that's a lot.
It's a huge statement. It's saying that leaders need to create systems that support quality.
Okay, Duran's definitely putting the pressure on the bosses.
He is. And now we got to talk about another quality guru, Kaoru Ishikawa.
Ishikawa, all right, let's hear it.
This guy was all about getting everyone involved in quality improvement.
I like that.
And he loved using visual tools to make things happen.
Visual tools, those are always helpful. What did he bring to the table?
You've probably heard of quality circles.
Oh yeah, those little groups that get together to solve problems?
Well, Ishikawa is the one who made them popular.
Interesting.
He believed everyone has something to contribute to quality, not just the managers.
Makes sense. The people doing the work often have the best ideas.
Exactly. And to help those quality circles be even better, Ishikawa was a big fan of tools like the Pareto chart and the fishbone diagram.
Okay, I know the Pareto chart. It's that bar graph that shows you which problems are the worst, right?
You got it.
What about the fishbone diagram? That one always sounded kind of funny to me.
It's a great tool, though. It lets you visually brainstorm all the possible causes of a problem.
Oh, interesting. How does that work?
Well, it looks kind of like a fish skeleton.
Okay.
The head of the fish is the problem you're trying to solve.
Got it.
And then all the bones branching out are the different categories of causes.
Okay, I can kind of see it now.
So you get your team together, write down the problem at the head of the fish, and start brainstorming.
And you group the ideas into categories along the bones.
Exactly. Common categories are things like materials, machinery, methods, measurements, people, environment, that kind of stuff.
It's a way to break down a big problem into smaller pieces.
And it really gets everyone thinking and working together.
Ishikawa sounds like a really practical guy.
He was all about giving people the tools to actually make quality happen.
I like that. Okay, who's next in our Quality Hall of Fame?
Now it's Philip Crosby's turn.
Crosby. All right, what'd he do?
He was the guy who said we should aim for 0 defects.
0 defects. That's a pretty high bar.
It is, but Crosby believed that perfection was possible.
Wow.
He didn't think defects were inevitable,
Hmm.
and he really pushed companies to focus on preventing defects instead of just finding them after the fact.
So it's not about accepting some level of failure.
Nope.
It's about striving for excellence right from the start.
Exactly. Crosby wanted companies to completely change how they thought about quality.
That's a big shift.
It is. And to do this, he came up with his 4 absolutes of quality management.
Okay, I'm listening.
The first absolute is that quality means conforming to requirements.
So knowing exactly what the customer wants and making sure you deliver it.
Right. The second absolute is focusing on prevention, building quality into the process from the beginning.
Proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. The third absolute is that 0 defects is the standard.
No compromises.
And the fourth is measuring the cost of not meeting the standard.
So you can see the real impact of defects.
Crosby estimated that companies lose something like 20 to 35% of their revenue because of bad quality.
That's huge.
It is. So investing in quality is not just a nice thing to do, it's essential for success.
Okay, Crosby definitely wasn't messing around.
Not at all. He was a big thinker with a bold vision.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
What's that?
These quality gurus weren't afraid to shake things up.
Yeah, they were revolutionaries.
Absolutely. Okay, who's our last quality guru for this part of our deep dive?
We got to talk about Armand Feigenbaum.
Feigenbaum. All right, let's finish strong.
He was a big advocate for something called total quality control.
Total quality control. That sounds pretty comprehensive.
It is. Feigenbaum believed that quality wasn't just one department's job, it was everyone's job.
From the top down.
He stressed the importance of training and motivating everyone in the company.
So quality becomes part of the company culture?
Exactly. He saw quality as absolutely essential for long-term success.
Okay, we have covered so much ground with these first 6 quality gurus.
We have. It's a lot to take in.
Their ideas are so interesting, and it's incredible to see how they built the foundation for how we think about quality today.
Yeah, they were pioneers.
So what are some of the key takeaways our listeners should be thinking about?
Well, first of all, quality's not just about checking things at the end.
Right, it starts way before that.
It's about understanding variation, preventing those defects, and constantly looking for ways to improve.
And realizing that quality is everyone's job, not just one department's.
Exactly. It's about giving people the power to do their best work.
And these gurus didn't just talk about these ideas.
Right.
They actually developed tools and ways to put them into practice.
That's what makes them so important.
They gave us a roadmap to achieving real quality.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned, because in our next part, we're going to dig into those tools and techniques in more detail.
It's going to get really interesting.
I'm ready. Okay, so we've talked about the big ideas. Now let's get into the actual tools and techniques.
Yeah, let's get practical.
I'm really interested in those visual tools that Ishikawa loved, the Pareto chart and the fishbone diagram.
Oh, yeah, those are classics for a reason.
For sure.
Let's start with the Pareto chart.
Okay.
It helps you focus on the biggest problems first.
Right, not getting bogged down in the little stuff.
Exactly. It's based on the Pareto principle, you know, the 80-20 rule.
Oh yeah, 80-20. Remind me how that works again.
It means that 80% of the effects come from 20% of the classes.
Right.
So like 80% 80% of customer complaints might be coming from just 20% of the problems your company has.
So you got to find those big problems and tackle them first.
You got it. And the Pareto chart helps you do that.
Makes sense.
Imagine you're managing a software team and there are tons of bugs popping up.
Oh, yeah, been there.
A Pareto chart could show you that most of those bugs are coming from just a few parts of the code.
So if you fix those parts first, you'll solve most of the problems.
Exactly. And Pareto charts are super easy to use. It's just a bar graph with the biggest problems at the top.
Nice and visual. Easy to understand. Okay, Pareto chart, check. Now, what about that fishbone diagram? I'm still curious about that one.
It's a great one. It's all about brainstorming the root causes of a problem.
Okay.
The head of the fish is the problem itself.
Got it.
And then all the bones branching out are the different categories of potential causes.
Okay, I'm starting to picture it.
So you get your team together, write down the problem, and then start throwing out ideas for what might be causing it.
Like a brainstorming session, but with a fish.
Exactly. And you group those ideas into categories along the bones of the fish.
What kind of categories?
The usual suspects: materials, machinery, methods, measurements, people, environment.
Oh, okay, so it makes you think about the problem from all angles.
Exactly. You might discover connections you didn't see before.
I like it. And it gets everyone involved.
That's the key. Collaboration is huge in quality management.
Okay, the Pareto chart and the fishbone diagram are definitely going to my quality toolkit.
Good choices.
What other techniques did these gurus come up with?
Well, remember how Deming was all about continuous improvement?
Yeah, always getting better.
He was a big fan of the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle,
Oh yeah, PDCA.
sometimes called PDSA, Plan, Do, Study, Act.
Right.
It's all about making small changes and seeing what happens.
So you plan the change, you do it, you study the results, and then you act on what you learned.
You got it. It's a simple framework, but super powerful.
And you just keep going through the cycle over and over again.
Exactly. Continuous improvement is a journey, not a destination.
I like that. So give me an example of how you'd use PDCA.
Okay, let's say you're trying to reduce errors in your order fulfillment process.
Okay, a lot of companies struggle with that.
You could plan a change, like implementing a new checklist for packing orders.
Okay.
Then you do it, you have the team use the checklist.
Then you check to see if it's actually working.
Exactly. You analyze the data and see if the errors went down.
And if they didn't,
Then you act. You might tweak the checklist, train people better, or even try a completely different approach.
so you're always learning and improving.
That's the goal.
Okay, PDCA, got it. Now, what about that root cause analysis thing we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's all about digging deep to find the real reason why something happened.
Exactly. Not just fixing the symptom, but finding the root cause.
Like a detective.
Exactly. And one of the best techniques for this is the 5 whys method.
5 whys. Sounds almost too simple.
It is simple, but it works. Let's say you're dealing with a lot of customer returns.
Okay.
You start by asking, why are customers returning these products?
Okay.
Maybe the answer is they're damaged.
Right.
Then you ask, why are they damaged? And you keep asking why
5 times.
until you get to the root of the problem. It might turn out to be something like bad packaging or rough handling during shipping.
So by asking why over and over again, you eventually uncover the real culprit.
Exactly. And once you know the root cause, you can fix it for good.
Okay, 5 whys. I'm adding that to my list. What other quality tools should we be aware of?
One more I want to mention is mistake proofing, or pukoyoke.
Pokeyoke, what is that?
It's a Japanese term that means making it impossible to make a mistake.
Wait, you can actually do that?
Well, you can get pretty close. Think about a USB connector.
Okay.
You can only plug it in one way.
Right.
That's pokeyoke. Or those pill organizers with a compartment for each day of the week.
Oh yeah, those are helpful.
It's about making things so simple and foolproof that you can't mess it up.
I love that idea. So give me an example of how you'd use Pokeyoke in a real-world situation.
Okay, imagine you're working in a factory where parts have to be assembled in a specific order.
Okay?
You could use color coding or physical guides to make sure the parts can only be assembled the right way.
So no one can accidentally put things together wrong.
Exactly. Or let's say you're in a hospital.
Okay?
You could have a system where nurses have to scan both the patient's wristband and the medication before giving it.
To double check that it's the right medication for the right patient.
Exactly. It adds an extra layer of safety.
These are great examples. I could see how Pokeyoke could prevent a lot of errors.
It's a powerful tool, and the best part is you can use it in any industry.
From factories to hospitals to software development.
Anywhere where mistakes can happen.
Okay, I'm a fan of Pokeyoke.
It's a good one. We've covered a lot of ground here with these quality tools.
We have. It's amazing to see how these gurus' ideas have turned into real-world solutions.
They were visionaries,
And they gave us a framework for achieving real quality.
and that's what matters.
So now I'm curious to see how these principles are being used in companies today.
That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
I can't wait. Okay, so we've met the quality gurus.
You've seen their tools.
Now I'm thinking about what their legacy is. Like, how are their ideas showing up in the world today?
Oh, their impact is everywhere, even if people don't know it.
It's like they laid the foundation for so much what we do in quality management.
Exactly. Think about lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, agile.
All of those have roots in the stuff these gurus were talking about.
It's pretty amazing.
Right? Like, these ideas from decades ago are still shaping how we work today.
They're timeless principles.
But the world has changed a lot, too. So how have these ideas evolved? How are they relevant in today's business world?
Well, one big shift is the focus on customer experience.
Right. It's not just about making a good product anymore,
It's about the whole experience.
from start to finish.
Exactly. And Duran was ahead of the game on this. He said quality should be defined by the customer.
Not by the company.
Exactly. It's about meeting and exceeding customer expectations.
Makes sense. Another thing that's changed is technology.
Oh, yeah. Huge impact.
The quality gurus were all about data.
And now we have so much data and so many tools to analyze it.
I bet they would be blown away by what we can do now.
Seriously, imagine Shohart with today's data analytics.
Or Ishikawa using digital tools for his quality circles.
The possibilities are endless.
So if these gurus were here today, what do you think they'd tell us to focus on? What are the biggest opportunities for improvement?
I think they'd push us to innovate,
To keep pushing the boundaries.
just like they did.
They wouldn't want us to just copy what they did.
They'd want us to take their ideas and run with them.
Find new ways to apply them in our world.
Exactly. And I think they'd also stress the importance of being agile.
Being able to adapt and respond quickly.
The world moves fast and companies need to keep up.
Flexibility is key.
Absolutely. And finally, I think they'd remind us that people are still at the heart of quality.
No matter how much technology we have,
It's the people who make it happen,
that takes us back to Deming and driving out fear,
creating a culture where everyone can thrive.
where people feel safe to share ideas and try new things.
That's how we create a truly quality-driven organization.
Well, this deep dive has been pretty inspiring.
It has.
These quality gurus were amazing thinkers,
True visionaries,
and their ideas are just as relevant today as they were back then.
maybe even more so.
So let's all go out there and make them